Hi there, welcome back to CNN World Sport. The UK-based TV network, the BBC, saying one of its reporting crew had to spend 2 nights in a Qatari prison after they were arrested while trying to report on the plight of migrant workers in the country that will host the 2022 Football World Cup. Now, the team was detained having travelled there ahead of a government-organised PR tour of official accommodations. This for low-paid workers. Meantime, the Qatari government saying they were arrested because they were trespassing on private property. Well, the statement reading in part, the journalists who took part in the press tour were given an opportunity for a comprehensive look at the problems Qatar is facing and the progress the government and the private sector are making to address those problems. They saw some of the worst labour villages and some of the best. The BBC was meant to be part of that tour and would have been if they had not chosen to break Qatari laws. Now, in response to that, the British network responding, "We are pleased that the BBC team has been released, but we deplore the fact they were detained in the first place. Their presence in Qatar was no secret, and they were engaged in a perfectly proper piece of journalism. The Qatari authorities have made a series of conflicting allegations to justify the detention, all of which the team rejects. We are pressing the Qatari authorities for a full explanation and for the return of the confiscated equipment." Well, earlier I spoke with Stephen Russell of the Playfair Qatar campaign, who told me football's world governing body, which awarded the World Cup to Qatar in the first place, must shoulder some of the responsibility moving forward.
FIFA needs to take a firm stance on this. They're the only people ultimately that Qatar will listen to. They have the power to take away the games, though it seems that at the moment FIFA are very much of the opinion that they don't want to touch the Qatar World Cup, no matter how dreadful the stories surrounding it actually get. I mean, if you take the fact that with the 4,000 figure and previous tournament formats, 62 workers will die for every game played at the 2022 World Cup. I mean, that's a shocking statistic. But when you look at that, FIFA, if it had any sense, would be backpedaling away, threatening to remove the World Cup, doing everything in its power to force Qatar to fix the situation. But thus far, they've given a few warm words and no guarantees.
Well, meantime, FIFA says it is investigating the arrest, with the Swiss-based association adding any insistence relating to an apparent restriction of press freedom is of concern to FIFA and will be looked into with seriousness it deserves. Critics have in the past accused the body of turning a blind eye to conditions in Qatar, but Andrew Wharshaw of Inside World Football is saying football's governing hierarchy has played its part in trying to force change.
They do recognise that changes have to be made, and they are already implementing some changes. You know, we know that in the future kafala is going to be replaced by proper employment contracts. We know that in the future passports are not going to be taken away by employers and the employees not allowed to leave the country. We know that down the road that salaries are going to be paid on time and in a better way than they have been hitherto. So whilst we may not actually see these developments at the moment, I think you'll find that by the time the World Cup comes along, and considerably before that, some of these reforms, some of these improvements are going to be made. They have to be made.
Well, the FIFA presidential elections, date for your diary, taking place on May the 29th in Switzerland.